What's up, everybody? We had another crazy, wild weekend in both college and pro football. Had a big time shakeup in the top 10 in the AP rankings with 4 top 10 teams losing. 4. Plus, another firing in college football. We saw them coming. We saw this one coming. If you didn't, you must have been blind. We'll talk about that. Plus, are the Dallas Cowboys for real? What about the Indianapolis Colts? Are they the best team in the NFL? We're going to dive all into all that on another Manic and Panic Monday in the Ozone. Big O with the big mouth with you on another Manic and Panic Monday. We had a lot going on in college football and in the NFL over the weekend. We're going to get into all that right about now. First, talk about the AP Top 25. We had 4 teams, 4 top 10 teams that lost. Number 2, Miami. Number 5, Ole Miss. Number 7, Texas Tech. And number 10, LSU. All took losses, which shook up the AP rankings this weekend. Ohio State, number 1, predictable. But then, who's number 2, 3, and 4? AP had Indiana move up, taking Miami's spot to number 2. At Texas A&M, jumping up to number 3. And Alabama jumped all the way up to number 4, with Georgia rounding out the top 5 and number 5. Now, the question is going to be, the question that transpired over the weekend, especially Sunday, when I was listening to college sports today on Sirius XM, does Alabama deserve to be number 2? Or even number 1? First off, forget about number 1. I don't even want to hear it. I don't even want to hear it about Alabama being number 1. I know Alabama has won 4 straight games against top 25 opponents. I know they probably seem like the hottest team in college football, but they're definitely the hottest team in the SEC. But you lost the game. You lost the game. You lost the game to Florida State. Now, the beginning of the year, that seemed like it was a kind of a devastating loss, but Alabama came back from that. It was able to rise above that. But that loss seems to be looking worse and worse and worse every single week because of how Florida State has just fallen off the cliff after starting, 3-0, and being the talk of college football for at least 2 weeks. Now that 3-4 has not 0-4 in the ACC play, so that loss that Alabama took to Florida State is not looking good. Now, if I was voting, I put Alabama 3rd. Yes, I know A&M is undefeated, but I put Alabama 3rd. You can't overlook the fact that they've won 4 games against top 25 opponents. 2 of them on the road. You can't overlook that. Beat Georgia on the road. They beat Missouri on the road. You can't overlook that. But you do got that 1 L. So you can't be number 1. I'm sorry. You can't be number 1. No, sorry. Not this week. The only way I see that Alabama even gets close to being number 1 is if Ohio State loses. And judging by their schedule, doesn't look too likely if they're going to lose. But Alabama has made a lot of strides. I mean, remember, after week 1, I still remember hearing on Coach Paul Feinbaum's show on ESPN. A lady wanted people to help her win the lottery so she could pay for Coach DeBeer's buyout. If you remember that. That's how mad the Alabama fans were. They wanted to pull in to win the lottery to finance Coach DeBeer's buyout so they can get him out of there. Now look at him. I'm pretty sure that the tide has changed amongst the Alabama fans, and deservedly so. The quarterback, Simpson, looks like a legitimate Heisman Trophy favorite. Williams, I would strongly put him in consideration to be in a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. He is that good as a receiver. My only problem with Alabama, they can't stop the run and they can't run the ball. They can't run the ball very well and they can't stop it. And that's going to be a problem with them. They might get through the SEC with that, but that's going to be a serious problem come the college football playoff. You got to be able to stop the run. You can't stop the run. You can't get the ball back because the other team's going to be able to control the clock. Plus, it opens the playbook, especially with teams with good receivers like Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, teams that have good to great wide receivers. If you can't stop the run, oh man, the passing game just opens wide open. Now, I know Alabama has a good passing defense, but this is a college football playoff. You have to be able to stop the run. That's the only problem Alabama has at this point. Can't stop the run. Other than that, they humming along. They humming right along. But that's going to rear its ugly head at some point. I hope it doesn't rear its ugly head to the point where they start losing a couple of games they have no business losing. But you got to get that fixed. Got to learn how to stop the run. Got to learn. Other than that, I will put them third in front of Texas A&M, even though they have one loss. But the top two, Ohio State, Indiana, there's no debate about that. Now, we said we were all, you, me, the college football fan base, the media, everybody was looking at was on watch looking for 4 teams. Wisconsin, Florida. Let me see. What was another one? Wisconsin, Florida. There are 2 other teams out there that were on coach watch. I would Norvell, Florida State, and in my eyes, Clemson. Those were my 4 teams that I was watching to see which one of them was going to get rid of their coach. I knew, and they all lost. All 4 of them lost their games this weekend. Florida State, Clemson, and Wisconsin. I was under the impression that it would be, I knew one of those teams was going to fire their coach by today. I knew one of them was. My money was on Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. I mean, you got shut out at home twice, back to back. You have not scored a touchdown in 10 quarters. And those 2 back-to-back shutouts that Wisconsin just took were at home. 37-0 to Iowa last week, weekend before last, and 34-0 to Ohio State just past Saturday. That means you've been outscored 71-0 in your past 2 games at home. My money was on Luke Fickell getting the boot like sometime this morning. So far, I haven't heard any information on that. Then I thought it was going to be Florida State, Norvell. I mean, they're doing the Penn State swan dive. They started 3-0. They beat Alabama. I mean, they were the talk of college football the first month of the season. And then they have nosedive. I mean, nosedive. And there ain't no water where they named. There's no water. Just a hard ground That's what's happened to them. They've lost their last 4 games, all in conference play. So then I'm thinking, okay, if it's not going to be Luke Fickell, maybe it's Norvell. He might be gone. Well, reports came out this morning that the administration said they're going to hold off until the end of the season and reevaluate everything before they make a decision for Norvell. To me, that's saying, let him finish out the season, then he's gone. That's what it says to me. That's just that little pill talk that the administration says out to make their fan base sweat it out more. So he's off the list. For now, he's going to finish the season, or so they say. And then it came out that I thought Clemson. Another loss at home. I mean, they can't beat nobody now. And this is a team that a lot of the pundits were talking about at the beginning of the season they could win the national title. They're 3-4. And then the press conference Dabble Sweeney had after the game saying, we're going to win championships again. I promise you that. You promising who? Your fan base or yourself? Because your fan base, I guarantee you this, Dabble, your fan base ain't buying them wolf tickets. They ain't buying them sour cookies. I'm sorry. They can't buy them. You snuck in the college football playoff last year simply because you beat SMU in the ACC championship on the last play of the game. And you snuck in. And you got immediately bounced out by Texas. I think that's the only thing that saved his job, really. But then all that hype this year, Klubnik and the defense and they're going to be a strong contender for the national title. Then you go out and lose at home to LSU, a team that has relatively a soft defense, soft offense, relatively no offense. And then you lose in games you got no business losing at home. To Syracuse? Seriously? Oh, you beat North Carolina. Oh, you beat Bill Belichick. Whoopity-doo. And now after your latest loss, you're going on press conference saying, I'm going to win championships again. I promise you that. Nobody's buying that. Nobody's buying it. I wouldn't buy it. I'm pretty sure a lot of you out there wouldn't buy it. I think he's saying that to pop himself up. Until Dabble Sweeney gets with the program, NIL and the transfer portal, he's gonna be left behind, and he's already left behind, and he's gonna be out of a job if you don't get it right and get it right now. So, but he's as of today, he's still the coach at Clemson. I didn't think it would be Billy Napier, but Sunday afternoon, the administration let him go. Now, was it a good thing to fire Billy Napier midway through the season? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. He has stunk as Florida head coach the last 2 years. And I'm pretty sure a lot of them Gator fans out there get tired of this. They're just flat out tired of it. So they had to pull the trigger on him. They had to. They just had to pull the trigger on him. He's no good. He's no good. I'm sorry. He was a lousy head coach of Florida. You couldn't get up. You couldn't get your team ready to play the Florida States, the Miamis. You lost to LSU, who has no offense. You lost to them. Come on now. So I knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. I thought he was going to last the season. Nope, didn't. Sure didn't. And he shouldn't have. Now, who are strong candidates to replace Billy Napier at Florida? From what I've been hearing, the biggest candidate is Lane Kiffin. Okay, Ole Miss. I know y'all took a loss last week. I know you took one last week. But Lane Kiffin is a damn good head coach. It's not like they got punked by Georgia. They just stopped scoring in the fourth quarter against Georgia and let Georgia come back and get the win. So not that they couldn't hang with Georgia, because if they would have just scored one damn touchdown late in that fourth quarter, they would have probably won the game. So I won't think it was a bad loss. It's one of the losses that you're going to file in the memory and say, we will not let this happen again. And with Lane Kiffin, I'm pretty sure he will not let that kind of loss happen again. But from what I'm hearing, he's the strongest candidate to replace Billy Napier at Florida. He's a Steve Spurrier mentor. You know, that's probably his dream job. So, Ole Miss, you got a decision to make. Administration, athletic department, is Lane Kiffin your guy? Is he your man? Do you believe in him strong enough to get Ole Miss to the SEC championship, the college football playoffs, and to seriously challenge for the national championship? You got to ask yourself that, because I guarantee you, Florida probably believes it already. And if you believe in Lane Kiffin, you better lock him up long term right now. I said this about Kirk Cignetti in Indiana last week, and they heeded the message. Probably not from me. Well, I know that scuttlebutt was out there about Kirk Cignetti possibly being the next head coach of Penn State. And Indiana got out in front of him and said, oh, no, he ain't. He's standing right here, to the tune of a $93 million 8-year contract. The same situation is now with Florida and with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. If he's the strongest candidate, Ole Miss, you got a decision to make. Do you believe in Lane Kiffin enough to lock him up and tell Florida to go kiss your ass, or do you let him go? From what I've seen, the way they hung with Georgia in Athens, like I said, they scored one more touchdown. In that fourth quarter, they probably would have beat Georgia. So it's not like they're far away. They right there. I say to keep them. Lock them up. And you lock them up soon. Don't wait till the last minute. Florida comes swooping in with an offer Lane Kiffin can't refuse. Lock his ass up now. That's if you believe in him. If you don't, well, gotta go with somebody you believe. But if you believe in Lane Kiffin, you better lock him up. Don't let him go. That's all I'm going to say about that. As far as the other coaches, yeah, they're going to be gone. They're all going to be gone. Dabo Swinney, he'll probably get one more year to get it right. But Luke Fickell, Norvell, Florida State, they're gone. They're walking dead. They're the walking dead. If they don't know it, we all know it. They can say whatever to the media, to the fans, sell all that wolf tickets all they want to. We know the deal, especially Luke Fickell. You ain't scored a point. Your team hasn't scored a point in 2 games. I mean, at home. And I know Wisconsin. I know the Big Ten, how the Big Ten plays, and I know Wisconsin DNA is to run the ball. Y'all can't even do that right. You can't run the ball. You can't throw it. You can't stop anybody on defense. This is not the Wisconsin I'm pretty sure a lot of those fans are used to. And I know Wisconsin. I know their DNA. What used to be their DNA was tough running of the ball. They always had great running backs. They have a quarterback that he may not wow you with his arm, but he don't make too many mistakes. And the defense has always been strong, especially in Camp Randall. Always been strong. None of that's happening right now. So Luke Fickell, to me, Luke Fickell will be the next coach to get the boot. If it don't happen this week, trust me, it's coming real soon. It's coming. And I believe he knows it. I believe everybody knows it. They're pathetic. I mean, I've never seen Wisconsin play this bad this long. Especially at home. Don't make no sense to me. But I think he's the next one on the chopping block. There'll be a couple of others. I mean, this is the year where, you know, college coaches just getting axed real quick. And why not? Let me explain it down. This is how I see it. College football now, ever since the NIL and the transfer portal and all this other stuff, it's not just a sport, it's business. It's big business. And we ain't talking about chump change money. We talking about life-changing money. Millions of dollars. Even billions with school for the big schools. And we all know the golden rule, money talks and bullshit walks. And the more you win, the more money you're going to make. For you, the school, the players. And it's just simple as that. And if you don't win, especially if you can't beat even average teams, you got to go. You got to go. It's like they're paying you all this money. They want you to win. No excuses. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear your damn excuses. Especially your team, especially schools that give you, invest in your program heavily. Give you all the money and resources you want, you could ever need, and you still going out losing the bums or even the average team. You know, they ain't going to hear that too much. You got to go. And they don't care what your history was with the team. Because this college football now is a what have you done for me lately league. That's what it is. Because it's all about that money. Big business. And either you put out or you can get kicked out. It's as simple as that. That's why these coaches getting fired into the season, midway or a third of the way through the season. You ain't producing. We spending all this money. You got to go. You're going to find someone else who will. Money talks, bullshit walks. And that's where we at with college football. You wouldn't say that 20-some years ago. You couldn't say that at the turn of the century. You could say that. Because we didn't have NIL. What was that? Now, I remember saying about 20-something years ago that these players, these student athletes should get a monthly stipend. But I didn't think they would put out name, age, and likeness, and these kids are making thousands and thousands and even millions of dollars. I didn't know this was going to blow up like that, but that is where we at. This is the reality we are in college football. And like, again, money talks and bullshit walks. Not just for players, coaches too. These coaches are you better come out and you better produce. And you better win on a consistent basis. Where you going? Look at James Franklin. 104 and 45 in 10, 11 years at Penn State. Gone. Why? 4 and 21 against the top opponents. 4 and 21 against top 10 opponents. 1 and 19 against top 10 Big Ten opponents. You're not winning when it matters. You got to go. Made it to the playoffs last year. Made it to the college semifinals last year. Doesn't matter. What have you done for us lately? You got to go. That's what happened with Billy Napier. You haven't done shit in 2 years. You ain't done nothing. You have given nothing. You have not given. You gave a little bit of hope towards the end of last year. And they gave you a 1-year mulligan. What you do with that? Nothing. No hope. You got to go. Take your buyout money and get the hell on. That's where we at. And there's going to be a lot more coaches falling. If not by the not in the season, definitely in the off season. They're gonna be gone. That's where we're at. And that's where we're gonna stay at until they fix this NIL issue. But with all this money, gonna be happening no time soon. I guarantee you. I hate for these college football coaches getting fired. I don't want to see them lose their job. But it's like with any job. You don't do your job to the best of your ability and you don't produce results, they're going to bring in somebody who will. Money talks and bullshit walks. In the discussion. I'm sure Billy Napier will find another job somewhere. It's not going to be as lucrative as it is in Florida and in the SEC. But I think he'll find a job somewhere. Probably one of those group of 6 conference schools, something like that. Give him a chance to build himself back up, build his reputation back up as a coach. But as far as big time, SEC, ACC, Big Ten, nah, not no time soon. He had his chance in Florida, he blew it. Move on. Listen to the big old with the big mouth in this Total Sports Zone for Manic Monday. Now, nobody's really talking about, sticking with college football, nobody really talking about Ohio State. Yes, I'm bringing this up. And the only way, if they do talk about Ohio State, it's the same old thing. Ohio State hasn't beaten anyone. They shouldn't be number 1. They have not beaten anyone. And I know those Canes fans were talking that loud and clear the last couple of weeks. We should be number 1. We've beaten 3 ranked teams. Who is Ohio State beating? Ohio State has beaten nobody. You know what I say? Ain't lost to nobody either. Let me give y'all a little bit of history. Show you a little bit of history. You might not even know this. You might not even care. But I've seen it because I'm a Buckeyes fan. So I know it. Even if y'all don't see it, I saw it. Let me tell you why Ohio State has been so, I guess, winning. They've been excelling so much over the past 10 to 15 years. Why they always been in contention for not just the Big Ten, but the national championship. Every year, pretty much every year since 2012. Why they've been a consistent contender all those years. Wanna know why? Urban Meyer. That's why. Urban Meyer. You see, you guys forget, some of y'all forget, Urban Meyer coached in Florida, won a couple of national titles there. So he knew what it took to win in the SEC. He knew what kind of players you needed to develop. He knew what kind of quarterbacks you needed to develop. He knew what schemes would work, both offense and defense. He knew this because he coached in the SEC, and he was successful. 3 SEC championships, 2 national titles in 5 years. So he knew the blueprint. When he took the job at Ohio State, now, us Buckeye fans, especially the older school, but we know, we're used to that Jim Tressel look, which was the DNA of Big Ten football for decades. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, take care of the ball, play hard, solid defense. That was the DNA of Big Ten football, at least all my life growing up, and that was the same thing with Ohio State. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Run the ball effectively. Don't turn the ball over. Play solid defense. That's the Big Ten mantra. That's the Big Ten's DNA blueprint. Well, when Urban Meyer was hired back in 2012, he knew that's not going to work to try to win national titles. especially when you got to go through the SEC pretty much to win national titles. Well, no ACC, well, no Big 12, well, no Pac-12. It was the SEC. You had to go through one of them big boys in the SEC if you wanted to win a national title. And this was right when they started the college football playoff. The end of the BCS era and the start of the college football playoff era. He knew that. So, he slowly remade this team, the Buckeyes, into an SEC type team. Yes, they run the ball, but they also use athletes in space. Athletes that can get open in space, in the seam, on the slant. And then every now and then, one can go deep. That athletes, not only out of the backfield, tight ends. He used everybody. That 3 yards in a cloud of dust wasn't going to work no more. You had to open the field up. You had to spread the field a little bit. Let the athletes work. Get the ball to your playmakers. Let them do their job. And it worked. It worked. What happened the second year he was there? Went to the Big Ten championship game. Couldn't go the first year because it was on the bowl ban. Went to the Big Ten championship game in the second year. Lost, but they got there. And then what happened in his third year? Not only Big Ten championship, national title. He changed the way Ohio State played. So basically, Ohio State is an SEC team that happens to play in the Big Ten. And the rest of the Big Ten schools they were too slow to catch up with that concept. And it's a simple to be the best. You better either play like the best or beat the best. And he knew, like I said, he coached in the SEC, so he knew what needed to be done with Ohio State was to contend with those SEC schools, the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Florida, the Georgias. He knew. And he slowly, but surely, changed the culture and the narrative of the program. And it worked. It worked. And Ryan Day, he ain't done nothing but just carry the mantra. He took the blueprint, kept it rolling. I think that's the reason why a lot of y'all hate Ohio State. You think, oh, they don't play nobody. That's because they're an SEC type team that happens to play in the Big Ten. And the other Big Ten schools, well, majority of the Big Ten schools, they don't play SEC type football. They don't know how. They don't have enough people or personnel or even the coaching to know how to play SEC type football. But Ohio State does. Why? Urban Meyer. He brought it up here. He knew it was the only way they would even have a chance to compete for not just the Big Ten championship, for the national title. I think it's worked. I mean, you can't complain with the results. Since Urban Meyer came and then when Ryan Day, they won, 8 Big Ten championships, or 7, and 2 national titles. So it has worked. The other teams in the Big Ten, majority of them, slow to that concept. And the rest of the college football, and especially SEC, they're hating on it. Mainly because y'all saying, Ohio State ain't playing nobody. We're playing a conference schedule. It's not Ohio State's fault that these other schools don't play like SEC schools. Is Ohio State supposed to apologize about that? Are they supposed to apologize that Penn State fell off a cliff? Are they supposed to apologize that Texas is not what they're supposed to be with all this hype that they had coming into the season? What about Illinois? Is it their fault that they're wishy-washy? No. Ohio State's just doing what they're supposed to do. Win. Now remember, this morning I read a couple of comments, one comment on Twitter, or X as you will, saying that if Ohio State was in the SEC and had to play Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, they would have lost at least 2 games. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? For starters, don't talk to me about Vanderbilt. They're new to this winning thing. I don't even hear about Vanderbilt. As far as LSU, you have no offense. You ain't keeping up with Ohio State. And with Ohio State's defense, please. Averaging, giving up less than 6 points a game, you really think LSU, who struggles on offense, is going to beat Ohio State, even on a neutral field? Come on. The only team in the SEC that would give Ohio State a problem is Alabama. That's it. Because Alabama can throw the ball. They can't run it worth a damn, but they can throw it. And you ain't going to run the ball against Ohio State too well. And Ohio State has a tendency to give up yardage in the air. But they don't let you score. And on the flip, Alabama can't stop no one on the run. So the Ohio State will run the ball down their throat just enough to make you say, stop running the ball. It will make the other team try to stop you from running the ball. Then that's just going to open up with Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, and the tight ends. They'll feast. So do you honestly think that Ohio State, if they were in the SEC, would get beat by a bunch of these teams when they are actually an SEC team that just happens to be in the Big Ten? If you ever looked, stop, quit hating for once, and look at how Ohio State has played over the past 10 years. They're an SEC school. That just happens to be in the Big Ten. But these SEC fans, they can't get down with that. They don't believe so. Oh, really? I believe they beat 2 SEC teams in the playoffs last year. Tennessee and Texas. And I'm saying, to beat the SEC, you have to play like them. To beat the SEC, the top SEC schools, you have to play like them. You got to play on their level. And don't you sit there and don't nobody sit there and tell me that Ohio State does not play on the SEC level. They've already proven they can do that. So for all the haters out there that are saying, oh, Ohio State ain't played nobody, they would get beat by the SEC. They already play SEC type football. So don't say they gonna get skull drugged by all these SEC schools. Really? They've already beaten 1 this year. They beat 2 in the playoffs last year. So they ain't like. So don't act like, please, don't act like they're new to this. No, Ohio State's not new to this. They're true to this. Now, I don't know how this season's going to play out for Ohio State. Maybe they'll go through their schedule, beat everybody, including Michigan, and then go to the Big Ten championship, because odds are they'll probably play Indiana, beat them, and then repeat. I don't know. But to sit there and say that they're going to get beat by 2 or 3 SEC teams, prove it. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to say that, back it up with some facts. I've already backed up what I think were my facts. Ohio State is an SEC team that just happens to be in the Big Ten. Why? Because they play like SEC schools. Only thing is, their defense is a hell of a lot better. Think about it. If you think I'm wrong, hit me up. Hit me up with a comment. Like and subscribe, please. But hit me up with a comment if you think I'm wrong. But if you look deep down and you think about it real hard, you know I'm telling the truth. You know I am. Because that's all I do in the sports ozone. Big O with the big mouth coming at you. Now, let's flip it up and turn it into back to the NFL. I got to ask. I'm going to put it out there. Did the Broncos win that game yesterday, 33-32 over the New York Giants, or did the Giants blow it? It's hard to say, but how do you give up 33 points in less than a quarter? It wasn't like they start scoring right at the quarter, at the fourth quarter started. It was less than a quarter. And the Giants gave up 33 points. And the crazy thing about it is, if they wouldn't have missed a couple of point afters, they probably would still have won the game. If the Giants kicker hadn't missed 2 point afters, they probably would have won the game. You believe that? Do you believe that? But as it is, they blew it. Now, there's been a lot of blame blowing around. I say it's a little bit of everybody. A little bit of Jackson Dart, a little bit of coach. Looking at the coach because their play calling sucked on both sides of the ball. They wasn't aggressive enough on defense, and they was about as conservative as the Republican Party, as right-wing Republicans on offense. They didn't stick with the game plan. They should have stuck with the plan that got them the lead. That aggressive style of play on both sides of the ball. Jackson Dart making plays. Giving it to Cam Scatterbo and let him make some plays. No, they got way too conservative. And then when Jackson Dart threw that late interception, it's like they got scared. They started playing scared. But then Jackson Dart goes down and they take back the lead. But kicker misses the point after. I said, uh-oh. Denver said, oh, you gonna miss this point after? Watch this. Bing, Bo Nix, boom, Bo Nix, field goal. Go home. Giants is still not a great team. I know they have Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, and that both. It looks like they're going to have a great future. But this year, they still suck. So this is going to be a learning experience for those two young rookies. And it's a learning experience for the coach. Play it to the end. You don't slow down just because you got what you think is a big lead. This is the NFL. This is not college football. You know, a big league like that, maybe you call out the dogs. Maybe you put it in the second, third string. You know, the guys that don't never get no run, garbage time. This is the NFL. No lead is safe. You play it out until the last gun sounds in the fourth quarter, because you never know. That's the learning experience I think the Giants should take from this. Don't stop. When you got your foot on the other team's neck, you keep it on there and twist until the game is over. It's a heartbreaking loss for the Giants, but they'll learn. They still suck because they're 2-4. But games like this, you definitely will take from as a learning lesson. And let's face it, the Giants got what they got. They got what they needed. They got their franchise quarterback and their future running back. They got them. Now they got to go through them learning pains, them growing pains. Every rookie does. I hated that they lost the game the way they lost it. Que será. They'll learn. They'll learn from it. But the play calling got to be a lot better in the fourth quarter. I don't care if you're about 20 points or two. Play calling got to be a lot better. Play calling has to be a hell of a lot better. And I think they know that. What else we need to get into with the NFL? Oh, yeah. We're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Been a lot of scuttlebutt because Dallas CeeDee Lamb is back. And they got George Pickens and Dak Prescott. They're talking about Dak Prescott is playing at an MVP level. Maybe he is. It's not like that's nothing new. When Dak Prescott plays almost a full season, he's never had a losing record. Now, if he gets hurt, Dallas' season is over. We all know that. We've seen it. But when he plays and he plays almost the full season, not the full season, Dallas has never had a losing record. Worst they've been is 8-8 when he's been hurt. And he's made the playoffs several times. So this ain't nothing new about Dak Prescott playing at an MVP caliber level. I've seen that before. I know we've all have. The question with Dallas this year is, what you going to do with the defense? And they still dead last in total defense. Even when they won by 22 points yesterday, they're still dead last. Give up over 400 yards a game. I think they're second to last in points allowed. Don't talk to me about playoffs. Please. Yes, Dallas Cowboys have the offense. If everybody stays healthy, they have the offense that can score with anybody. They do have a Super Bowl caliber offense. If everybody stays healthy and the line holds up. They got a Super Bowl caliber offense. No doubt about it. But you ain't going to you ain't going to the playoffs when your defense is dead last. I mean, what's the sense of scoring 30 points when you give up 35? The thing about it is, the way Dak and the offense is humming along, the defense don't even have to be great. It don't have to be elite. It don't even have to be average. It just has to be better than what it is now. Be less than adequate to poor. And that would be enough for the Cowboys to definitely challenge for a playoff spot, if not the division. Definitely. They're 3-1. So they're game or two behind the Eagles. They're in second place. And if their defense just be less than adequate, if it can climb to that position, it's less than adequate. With that offense, it might be enough. It should definitely be enough for them to challenge for a playoff spot. But it's going to be a hell of a challenge because you got a whole lot of teams right there in the mix in the wild card. Damn near all the NFC West. Don't forget about the Packers, the Lions, Tampa Bay. Don't forget about Atlanta. Even though they lost last night, they're only 3-3. So they could go on the run. There's a lot of teams that Dallas is going to be jockeying for position to try to get one of the wildcard spots if they don't win the division. And to do that, their defense must improve. And Jerry Jones must do something at the trade deadline, which I believe is around November 4th, to improve that defense, especially if he knows this team is in the mix. He has to do something. He definitely needs to do something to atone for Micah Parsons' trade. Can you imagine where the Cowboys would be at right now if they hadn't traded Micah Parsons? They'd probably be right up there with one of the best teams in the league. I'm definitely sure they will only have one loss. Maybe two. That's it. If they had not traded Micah Parsons. He's that one dude you need on your team, your defense that could change the game. Wreck the game for the other team. He can pretty much win the game by himself. The way he can cause all the havoc for the other team's offense. That's that dude that Dallas needs, and they don't have it right now. And they need to get that dude. They can't get Micah back, but they need to get that dude. That's what they need to get. To make their defense, I mean, like I said, dead last. They just need their defense to be less than adequate. That would be enough. Because if it's less than adequate, that means they'll give up points, but they'll also make enough critical stops to get the ball back to their offense and let the offense eat. That's all they need. Will they do that? Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? You can't figure out what Jerry Jones is thinking. He probably thinking, we're deep. Our defense will get real better. We're going to be right there, and our defense is going to allow us to become Super Bowl contenders. He's probably saying that right now, and we all look at him like, yeah, okay, really, sure, right. Bullshit. That's what we'd be looking at. The Cowboys has a great. That's what the Cowboys is right now. All old, no D. And Dallas got to go to Denver next week. You better bring some D. Because Denver, they ain't no slouch. Especially when they can hang 30-something points on you in the quarter. So they better bring some D. I know they got the George Pickens on the left, CD Lamb on the left, George Pickens on the right. You got offense all day long. You got to bring up the D. It's the age-old adage in sports. Offense wins games, sells tickets, puts butts in the seats. But defense wins championships. And that defense is nowhere near championship caliber. And all they need is maybe one, maybe two pieces. Then it might be, I'm not going to say it's going to be championship caliber, but it might be enough. We'll find out. What do you think? Leave a comment, drop a like and subscribe. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Last thing we're going to talk about NFL is a team not too many of us have been talking about since the season started, because I guess you would say they're sneaking up on us. But you got to ask yourself, at 6-1, are they the best team in the league right now? And I'm talking about the Indianapolis Colts. Not the Detroit Lions, not the Buffalo Bills, not the Kansas City Chiefs, not the Baltimore Ravens, not the Eagles. The Indianapolis Colts. And I know we're all saying, who thought this was coming? Who knew? I know a lot of people didn't know this was coming. I didn't know. Daniel Jones, I thought he was a throwaway project. Or what does he call it? A reclamation project? Because he couldn't cut the mustard in New York and other places. I figured he would be just your average every team backup. And here it is. He should be in the top 3 for the MVP right now. I mean, they went out there and they took it to the Los Angeles Chargers, who were no slouch. But they took it to him. Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, who should be considered the best running back in the league at this time. At this point in time, he should be considered the best running back in the league. And their defense, which has been opportunistic all year, came up with big plays again yesterday. And held the Chargers off the scoreboard just enough to give Indianapolis a big road win. So we got to start talking about them. Are they for real? We know that. They sure look like it. But are they Super Bowl contenders? Super Bowl championship contenders? They playing like it. They're playing like it. And who knew? Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, Nobody saw this coming. If you did, you full of shit. Nobody saw this coming from the Indianapolis Colts. But it's refreshing to see the team that we thought would be lousy, that has been lousy the last 2 or 3 years, come out of nowhere and shock the league. It's always fun. It's always exciting. It's always refreshing to see a team nobody gives any relevance about to or anything of, just poo poo them. And they come out and shock the league. Right now, that team is the Indianapolis Colts. So do I think they're a Super Bowl contender? I want to say yes. I want to say yes, they are. I want to say yes, they are a Super Bowl contender. Do I think they'll beat the Kansas City Chiefs now that the Chiefs are at full strength? Nope. I don't think so. I still put my money on the Kansas City Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl until somebody shows me they can beat them. It's just how it is. It's how it is, how it's going to be, and that's how I see it. The Chiefs are 4-3. Right. But they got all their players back now. Rashid Rice, Xavier Worthy, Pacheco, even Travis Kelce rounding back into shape. Y'all in trouble. Now that's gonna be a hell of a good matchup. Indianapolis Colts and Kansas City Chiefs. I can't wait to see it. I think they play each other this year. I have to look at the schedule, but I think they play each other this year. If they do, that's gonna be one interesting matchup. Because I don't think either team will blink at the other. And you got to start talking about the Colts as far as Super Bowl contender and all that, because they've shown it week in and week out. Actually, you put it like this: they were one stupid play away from being undefeated. And then week 4 when the running back with a wide receiver dropped the ball before it let go of the ball before it went over the goal line. That little bonehead move we all hate. If he's got that touchdown, Colts right now, Colts would be probably the only undefeated team in football. That's how good they've gotten. And we ain't see this coming. I know I didn't. And nobody out there could tell me you saw it coming. Not with Daniel Jones as your quarterback. You're like, ooh, he's a scrub. That's what we all was thinking about Daniel Jones, especially at the beginning of the season. We all thought he was a scrub. I think now he's a leading MVP candidate. I'm gonna talk about who I think. We'll get into who I think I'm gonna get into who my 3 top MVP candidates is later on this week. But as of today, I gotta like his odds. Daniel Jones. If he's not that, he should at least be comeback player of the year. Just nobody saw this coming. But can the Colts keep it up? Now that everybody's got their eyes wide open about them, can they keep it up? Only time will tell. That's it for me in the Sports Ozone today. Tomorrow, we're going to get to the Monday Night Football matchups. We'll recap them. We got to start bringing up the NBA. The NBA starts tomorrow. 25-26 season gets rolling tomorrow. I'm going to give you who I think is going to come out of the Eastern Conference and who's going to come out of the West. I think you like my picks. They ain't going to who you think. They're not going to be who you think. I'm no. Why? I just like thinking outside the box. That's all. But we'll go over that tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Tonight, Game 7, ALCS. Seattle at Toronto. Winner take all. I love games like that. Don't you? Game 7, winner take all. Winner moves on the World Series. Loser goes home singing the blues. I don't even know who's going to win this one. This has been such a back and forth. series. It's such a back and forth. So many big hits, so many big plays. I mean, this has been a fun series to watch. And some unfortunately got to end tonight. But somebody's gonna win, somebody's gonna lose. But it's gonna be very, very interesting who comes out. I think tonight might be a pitching duel. You know Matt Serger's gonna be on the mound for the Blue Jays. I don't know who's gonna be on the mound for Seattle, but I bet he's gonna be their top ace. And I forgot his name. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is a complete pitching duel up until the later innings. But it's gonna be exciting to watch. I can't wait. So we'll go over that a little bit tomorrow. Recap that tomorrow. All right, this is the Total Sports Ozone. This is the big O with the big mouth checking out for the day. Check you back in tomorrow. Have a good day.